download it. And also, like I was saying, I did try myself to record, do some tests, and it wouldn't work. So I need more about to know more about it.
Okay, just in terms of expectation, today it's not going to be too technical and on the how to do it. Olia, if it's the case for you, we can have a separate session just to let you know how to use the Vidyard platform. That's if it's okay. But perhaps James, you can give a very high level overview. But the goal of today is more how to use it on the conceptual way.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Who else wants to express expectations? Or Ariella. So, excuse me, Ariella.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I don't know if I have an expectation or just a curiosity, but I'm really curious to see how you marry video and sales. I have a bit of, I don't do a lot of sales yet, so I'm currently taking the course with Vincent, but I have background in using video for other purposes. So I really like video and I'm comfortable with video, and I'm just curious to see how you're going to propose that we use it. So yeah.
Wonderful. We will definitely talk about that today.
Excellent. Thank you, Ariella. Who else wants to share his expectations? Estelle.
I can go. As we are starting our company and we're about to launch our different products at Neligent, would like to find a way on how to improve those skills and how to develop the YouTube platform. So that's why I'm here today, to learn more about using our videos and how to concept them and make them as they can be better for us.
Perfect. Thank you, David. Good.
Okay.
Estelle, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, for me, I would really like to get a video out there. So I'm hoping this is kind of going to be my comment t'appelles ça? Like just my step.
Your kickoff meeting?
Yes, exactly. So I'm hoping to get my video done following this, probably as soon as we get back next week, and then start sending it out. So hopefully I'll be ready.
Hey, good, excellent. Who else? Philippe just joined us.
Yeah, so I've had some experience with Vidyard, and so I'm here really to learn about more tips and tricks to kind of get a response back.
Excellent, thank you, Philippe. Jonathan, Gabriel.
This is the same as Philip. I use it right now, and I want to have more tricks because I know that when I'm doing HR, like recruiting a new candidate to work with me, it works really well. But when I use videos to speak with CEO, it doesn't work always that well. So I don't use it anymore for this kind of prospection. Sorry for my English.
No, that is a challenge. I think in the same way that you change your tone when you're communicating with different layers, using video strategically to get to executives is a little different than getting kind of a lower level manager, for sure.
Okay, so I think we're ready to start. Gabriel, perhaps you want to add something to make sure that everyone has.
Yeah, sure. In my case, I never used Vidyard. I've seen a lot of videos, so I'm here pretty much by curiosity to see how can I use it, if it could be good on my market and the type of clients that I'm reaching. So much more by curiosity that I'm here today.
Excellent. So let's start, James. I give you the floor.
Perfect. So we boiled down today to kind of 5 focus areas, and these focus areas are going to kind of help us learn where we can use video kind of across our sales cycle, as well as where we can use them to interact with customers. So I think one of the interesting things that if you've been following Vidyard for a while or being aware of video as a prospecting tool, and forgive me, you're going to hear announcements in the backgrounds. I'm at an airport right now. So apologies if you hear the audio behind me. So one of the most powerful things that Vidyard does is kind of 2 main areas. One, should be one of the primary tools that you're using to communicate with your customer, from prospecting through the funnel to closing the deal to post sale. So if you think about every time you're interacting with your customer, video should start to be a part of your strategy no matter what. And Vidyard can help you do that using user-generated video. So like video that you're going to create from your desktop. Now, David, I know that you talked about kind of more broadly speaking, like a larger video strategy. And that's kind of the other major use case of Vidyard. It is also a hosting platform. So as you start to think about all the different places that you're going to put video, whether that's YouTube, LinkedIn, Vimeo, your website, you kind of need a housing or hosting area for all those videos. And that's where Vidyard also comes in. We're an enterprise level solution for video hosting as well. And so there's a lot of our large enterprise clients use us strictly for that because they've got a bunch of other entry points of video and they can do. But if you're a small business, it works the exact same way. And it's a great place because we have integrations with LinkedIn, we have integrations with YouTube. It allows you to easily push things where you need it to go using Vidyard. So that's kind of where I wanted to start, just to kind of say like it's got those two primary, the customer side and then your video hosting overall. Great. So I'm going to take a step. Actually, I'm going to take a step back now because that was a very tactical beginning. And what I want to talk about is why video is actually very important and has increased in importance over the last 2 years. Now, we all know that through the pandemic, we've reduced the number of channels for us to be able to get to our customers. So before the pandemic, we had in-person meetings, we had events, we had lots of different ways we could bump it we could go to their business location and actually just knock on their door. There's a lot of different ways that we could get to our customer. What happened through the pandemic is that we took all of those business communications and we shrunk them down into a fewer number of channels. So the fewer number of channels really are your social channels, your phone, and email. It's the primary ways that we are going to interact with our customers now, and potentially your website as well. But those are the three main ways if you're doing outbound or you're trying to go acquire new customers that you're going to be using it. What that meant is we've taken, again, large number of communications, drilled them into fewer channels, which means we've increased the amount of information trying to be shared through those channels, which is why video is important. The graph you can see here on your left is from HubSpot. So HubSpot is one of the largest CRMs in the world. And what they noticed is through their platform, through the pandemic right here, the volume of emails compared to pre-pandemic started to rise and started to like 75%, 50% higher, 100% higher, which is where we are now. We're at like kind of like the 75%. And what happened was the response rates from email declined. So which makes a lot of sense. Volume went up, responses went down. So the same email tactics are no longer working, which means that video becomes a very important way to break through kind of the channel noise or the channel congestion that's happening. And we at Vidyard have found that that to be true. It's one of the primary reasons that our user base has climbed over the free users, which a lot of you are probably going to be. Our free user base over the last 2 years has climbed from 4 million to 12 million people. So lots of people are kind of getting on board. And we're across 250,000 different businesses now. Ranging in from every single industry. It's one of the very interesting things about working here. We don't really have a focus area of industry because anywhere that you communicate with your customer, video can help you break through. This is what I've already mentioned. Now, one of the interesting things, can I just get a show of hands or a thumbs up if you're using the emojis or things? Are most people here selling to businesses? Yeah, most people. David, are you selling to?
Olia, she's a real estate agent, so probably more B2C than B2B.
But real estate is actually, the industry overall is actually one of the early adopters of video as a strategy. There's quite a lot of real estate agents using our platform, and we actually have quite a big user base in the real estate area as well. But what I wanted to highlight here is McKinsey put out a report recently that showed that there was an expectation from sellers, us, that the world was going to bounce back to where it was pre-pandemic. And what we're learning is that the buyers actually don't want it to go back to the way it was. They would like remote first selling. 75% of buyers want it to stay the way it is, which means that if you're not developing a video strategy to kind of break through in this space, you're kind of going to be left behind. As well, through the pandemic, the other thing that we've all been fighting, I don't know if this is true, it's definitely true at Vidyard, but our buying cycles are taking longer. It's getting harder and longer to close deals. And because some of that reason is that we haven't adapted yet of how to increase the speed of information transfer and how to increase the speed of trust. So these are one of the two main kind of hiccups that are currently causing, which is why this report is from TrustRadius and trying to determine how to build trust across your buying cycle. And they found that every single part, so you can see from pre-sales, nurturing, proposal, negotiation, is all taking longer across in B2B sales. Which means that you probably already have, actually, yeah. So which means that buyers want you to communicate with them on their schedule in the mediums that they prefer now. You need to meet them where they are and how they want to be met. And it needs to be as easy as possible. So this is one of the reasons that Vidyard has become such a ubiquitous tool, a tool that everyone is using across their, people are starting to kind of lean into the video sales process. Now, lots of people have what you're going to see on the left here, which is a synchronous video strategy. And what you need to start thinking about as well is your asynchronous video strategy. Because both of those are two different ways to communicate. The same way that 25 years ago, we didn't use email, it was just phone and in person. We added in the fax machine, we added in email. Now email is ubiquitous. If you didn't know how to use email and you were trying to sell, imagine how silly that would be if a seller said, oh, I don't use email to sell, or I don't use email to transfer information. That same thing is happening across the board now with asynchronous video. If you're not using asynchronous video to kind of share information, it's something that you should be thinking about. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is where to use asynchronous video, how to use asynchronous video, and what are some of the tips and tricks that you can kind of use to help you break through, as well as to become an expert on how to use it. So that's what we're doing today. Sounds good. We all know, we all kind of talked about it, and then we're going to jump in. What I also want to say is, because we have a small group, I would love it if people ask questions throughout. Vincent has graciously offered, if you'd like to ask the question in French, to translate for us, or if you want to throw it in the chat, I'm keeping an eye on that as well. Or if you just want to put your hand up and jump in, I'm fully on board with any of that. Would prefer that we get the information that you need to make sure that you leave this session feeling empowered to make your first video, Estelle, or your 10th video, or what have you. But the most important thing here is for you to start using the platform and for you to start using asynchronous video, because the sooner you do it, the sooner you're going to feel comfortable and the sooner it's going to start to pay off for you.
Excellent.
Great. So this is how, as I said, this is how you're appearing to your buyers right now through these kind of the 3 different mediums that I mentioned before. Now, if we look at the difference, it's engaging. The difference between an email with a video, without a video, if you get to that open, it's going to be, you're going to have a much higher likeliness to break through. Now, there are 2 reasons for this. So first, I want to take a step back, and I know we some people asked about tips and tricks. This is your first big tidbit here, is how do you actually get them to open the video? If you're like, sure, James, or open the email. Sure, once they open the email, they see the play button, and the play button is the most used call to action button on the internet, which is why people have a habit of wanting to press it. So we're getting into there's a psychology side of it. When they see a button, they want to press it. TikTok became the #1 most visited website on the internet this year. People like watching videos. People want to press the button, but how do we actually get them to open the email? So the first thing that you need to do when you're sending an email with a video in it is in the subject line. And this is actually from studies that we did with SalesLoft, as well as with HubSpot. It needs to say the word video in the subject line. If you're trying to get responses and you're trying to get an output using video as an anchor, the video needs to be, you need to do the call out of the video. So that's your first kind of the big learning there, is say, hey, Vincent, made you a video in your subject line, or here's a quick video response for you, or made you a quick video about your questions.
And I can confirm, when I send videos to my participants to my training, if I put video to read absolutely in the subject versus just embedded, I have a different rate of success. It's one of the easiest things to shift, so you can try and help you break through. Great. Which leads us to kind of the next step. So you've got them to open the email, they've clicked on the button.
video actually increases response rates. So this is from that same report from SalesLoft, increases response rate by 25%. So once they're in there and they see the video, the likeliness of them to reply to you is much higher. So the first thing we want to talk about is one of the primary uses of Vidyard is prospecting and engaging new leads and trying to acquire new customers. This is top of the funnel activity. So when you're doing kind of a top of the, so I'm now, since we're into the kind of the top 5 here, I'm going to kind of slow down a bit and ask if some of the people here wanted to share how they've used Vidyard as a prospecting, and we can kind of talk a little bit and we can do some brainstorming or workshopping if you wish. If not, I can kind of just go over the prospecting use case. Would anybody like to share how they've used it to try and acquire a new customer? I know there were some people here who are familiar with the product that kind of wanted some tips and tricks. Is there anybody that wanted to say like how they're using it currently?
Mainly through LinkedIn.
Okay, so here's a great example. So if you're anybody else prospecting through LinkedIn, not everybody is probably, some people, yep. So if you're prospecting through LinkedIn, to get this kind of pop-up that you see here, they need to be a first connection. If they're not a first connection for you, what'll happen is when you actually add the video, it'll just send the link. It won't send the actual GIF. For you to send an image to somebody on LinkedIn, they need to be a first connection of yours. So if you start thinking about it, which is why, where are we? Where's my, there it is. Okay, which is why choosing where you're going to put video in your prospecting cadence or in your system is actually very important. And we don't recommend that video is actually your first touch. We recommend that there's actually 1 or 2 touches prior to you sending a video to the person. So you start to build the trust with them, and you can start to kind of, they start to, and potentially a phone call or a voicemail or something like that. You want to start to build the kind of relationship with them via the internet, via your prospecting cadence before you actually reach out to them in video. A number of people, I can't remember who it was, specifically around CEOs. In my experience, and this is directly talking to customers and their leadership, find it presumptuous if you send a video before building trust or building value with them. Ariel.
Yeah, thanks. So I just want to clarify my understanding. So we're talking here really about videos. I mean, you actually say it right here on your slide that you had the word personalized. So we're really looking at like person-to-person contact. We're not looking at, for example, doing a LinkedIn post where you're hoping to just, it's more like, I guess, the communication side of things, where you're just hoping to kind of get out there and see who might want to contact you. Here, we're really talking about like a lead that you're following.
It could be a lead that you're following or a lead that you're reaching out to directly. Okay. In this case, in terms of creating like a LinkedIn video that you're kind of doing an announcement or things like that, Vidyard also works very well for this. This specifically is doing an outreach. If I was reaching out to you, I might want to, like, if I sent you an email and maybe I got a response back from you, now it's time for me to introduce myself over video. This is a great tool for that.
Okay, so each video is personalized to the person because you're saying their name, for example. You can't just create one and then reuse it, for example.
Well, I don't have this.
It could be to reconnect with someone who you've not connected for a long time. 2 months ago, I saw an article on the CEO of Collège La Salle that I used to know 10 years ago. I sent him a quick video. Hey, Claude, perhaps you don't remember me. We were in business together 10 years ago. Congrats for the nice article in the press. 1 hour later, I received an email. Hey, cool video. Yes, Vincent, I remember you. Let's connect. Here's my phone number. Click. 2 weeks later, I had a meeting with his executive vice president. So it works.
Oh, absolutely. Vincent's spot on there. What I wanted to say is we really think about video in kind of a 3-layer approach. So you think about it at a 1-to-1 layer, an account layer, or an industry layer. So let's say you were making a video specifically around a certain industry that you're going into, or a certain size of or something like that, and then kind of a any use video. So there's kind of the 3 different ways. If you want to send a 1-to-1, kind of a more specific, as I said, like industry-wide, account-wide, something like that. And then the third one is really more of those ones that you can use anywhere. FAQs, an announcement, one that you could repost a bunch of times, informational, value creation, things like that. Like those are kind of a more like those standalone evergreen pieces, which we'll talk about as one of the use cases. So specifically, as you're using as a part of your prospecting strategy and doing the outreach, your goal here is really to capture attention and build trust, which is why body language, smiling, waving, all of the things that you would normally do when you first meet somebody in person are all very important in this type of video. You want to be able to keep it succinct. There's a new feature on video of a product feature that was just added that now when you share it, the length of the video actually comes up on the play button. So you don't see it here in this version, but the time of the video is now timestamped to the GIF, which means that you can actually even say, hey, just made this quick 45-second video for you. So the person knows how much time they're investing. And then it allows them to be like, yes, I would like to invest that time with you. You create some value over the video. I find it incredibly useful as a pre-meeting tool as well as before you meet your new prospects. So it's like you send them the hello prior to, maybe you drop a few, personally, my experience is you drop a few hints or a few interesting facts about yourself in that video in the pre-meeting. So that gives them something to talk about when you first join the meeting. So it's like that first kind of like hello is like, oh, I didn't know that you went to this school, or I didn't know you did that, or like, oh, that was a very pretty dog or cat, or like, oh, I didn't realize you had children. So you drop some information in that first video. So like before you do a pre-meeting. And as I said, and I'll come back to this, video is a part of your cadence. So it's a part of your sequence that you're going through as you're doing kind of the top of the funnel activities. So you really want to like use it in conjunction with all the other tools you're using, whether that's social, email, standardly, sharing white papers or sharing other information, sharing articles like Vincent said, all of those are still in play. Video doesn't replace any of those. It is just another way that you can share the information. And one that you will find that some prospects become a lot more entranced with video. So you want to start like maybe dialing up the amount that you're using with that person. And if you're seeing low engagement on your video, maybe that person's very text-based, and you can dial down video. But what you want to do, yeah, please.
Go ahead.
No.
I wanted to share something that I did that worked, is to record myself with the background of the website of the person I'm reaching out. So they can see that you've made the effort to be on their website, and then, oh yes, I see that, and you can raise the attention easier that way.
So absolutely. So here are some examples, and you'll have this deck. So there's some videos if you'd like to watch them, but these are some of these are the best performing videos when it comes to prospecting or reaching out to somebody or sharing information. So whether that is webcam and a whiteboard, which you see twice on here, where you can actually share information and you can draw on it. Going to the buyer's website, going to their LinkedIn, people like to see themselves. This is actually when it comes to prospecting and like reaching out to new people. Being on the screen with the person is also it's a kind of a pattern interrupt that allows them to kind of connect with you. Doing a demo of your own product, and then if they're a publicly traded company, like going through their report and maybe pulling out a couple interesting nuggets of information. So I have some examples again here. So one of the one on the right here is an actual live, if you're selling into companies that actually have like a physical product, this is one of the powerful ways that you can utilize video. You can do unboxings, you can pull the product in, and you can actually talk about like how and why your solution is going to like change their life, and you can do it live, which is a lot of fun. And people, again, like to see themselves, like to see their product, like to see their own business. So it's a good way to kind of interact with them. Also seeing like being on like Instagram feeds and things like that. So the second use case is kind of going into that little bit of the walkthrough that I talked about with Body Shop, which is recaps, walkthroughs, demos, updates. This is also a little bit kind of what Vincent kind of mentioned when you wanted, and what I had said earlier. The primary place that I use video, because I work on the partnerships team, is in pre and post meeting follow-up. So when you meet with somebody, it's a great way, if they had a question, if they had any information that they needed, it's a great way after a meeting, after you've met them for the first time, that you can actually continue the conversation. And this is why video is such a trust building medium, because if they just saw you, they're very likely that they'd like to see you again, especially if you're answering a question for them or like providing them more information that they want to get a bit deeper on. David, as you're building your sales strategy, think about some of those evergreen videos that you could like start to send some like product updates and demos in afterwards. You can actually walk through, I don't know if your product is software, but if it's whatever it is, you can actually walk through the solution afterwards. Like, oh, hey, I talked about this. I know you had this problem. Here's this as I literally just went through it. And what it allows you to do, because a stat that I didn't talk about, but Forrester recently released a study that says that an entire buying cycle through the pandemic, when you're selling B2B, the amount of time that a seller is in front of a buyer has actually decreased from 17%, or sorry, from 23% to 17, and most likely we should shrink down to 11. We have less and less time in front of our sellers now we have less time in front of our buyers as sellers now than ever before. So it's definitely something that is really important there. So custom micro demos to answer questions and getting ahead of objections. So our next, so this is also in the same area, Ariel, is like where we talked about like creating those evergreen videos that you can use. And this is actually, I want to kind of stretch beyond like just pre-meetings and recaps, but really think about like FAQs and building trust with your customer after they've started. So is there a question that they normally ask? Is there something that is like part of your onboarding process? What happens post-purchase? Video becomes a really great tool that you can use. Yeah, go ahead, Vincent.
Just a way I used it, and it was quite successful, is let's say I do presentation to a customer, and there are some things I want to recap. So I will use the PowerPoint behind me and circle the point I want to put the emphasis on. And what is interesting is that with the tracking of the number of views you have in Vidyard, I can send that to one person, but I noticed that I had 5 views from other people, which means that the person I sent it circulated my presentation, my video to other people, which it's a good indication of the interest of the prospect or the customer.
Absolutely, and you brought up a really good point. I know that we weren't necessarily talking about like the ins and outs and the features of Vidyard, but one of the great parts of it is the analytics side of the videos. So when you send that out, you actually get to see, if I send it directly to somebody, you get to see when they watched it, how much of the video they watched, and then if they shared it with someone else. So you can start to get a lot more information about your customer, as well as like how engaged they are with you. And that works across some marketing channels on your website as well. So if you send a video to somebody directly, you'll know exactly when they watched it, which means that you can be strategic with how you follow up. One of my favorite use cases for video is the Sandler phrase is closing the file. So it's your breakup video. We call them breakup videos. They're used as like your last shot, your Hail Mary video, or what do you do when someone hasn't responded to you for a long time? How do you actually get them to kind of come back to you? So here are some 2 great examples, as I said, that will be shared with you of how to kind of utilize video to kind of get someone to respond. And utilizing it video is a lot more effective because they see your face, especially if you're asking them, hey, like, I really think this is a great idea for you. Have you given up on this? Especially if you had engagement at the beginning. If you've got engagement with somebody like in the start of your relationship, and then they kind of disappeared, sending them like a last ditch video, especially with kind of a very specific type of subject line. If any of you have read the book, Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss, as a phenomenal negotiating. He's got a subject line that he uses for his breakup videos that he recommends that I use religiously, that I've never had someone not respond to. So I'll share the subject line if you don't know it, which is, have you given up on this? Because people have like an inherent need for loss aversion. We don't want to lose something, and no one wants to be someone who give up or quit on something. So there's kind of no one wants it. So if you say, have you given up? And no one wants to say, yes, I've given up. Like, that's not a phrase that anyone kind of wants to say. So when they read it, they're going to open it. When the video is there, they're going to press play, and they're going to check. I kid you not, 100% response rate on using this. I use it sporadically. I'm not like spamming it, but it's it's a subject line that is incredibly powerful. And then a video as a secondary piece to that has been very effective for me. So I just wanted to share that with you as you're doing your kind of close the file and how to utilize video kind of to re-engage your customer. And Vincent also had a really great example of like the re-engagement of someone over a period of time, reminding them that you're a person and reminding them of your face. Lots of people claim, and lots of people say it, that they've got a memory for faces, but not names. So this also kind of gets through on that side of things as well. You're kind of utilizing multiple ways that people think, whether they're a visual learner or an auditory learner. So I had alluded to this. One of the more powerful ways that people and some of our largest clients are using video, it's not one that we kind of focus on, but it's really on the customer success side. So in customer success, if you're, I know, smaller business, you might not have customer success. You might be managing all your customers as like a full all the way through, which is great, because then it means that you know what all the frequently asked questions are. You know how to what your onboarding process consists of, and you can start to build that out, and you can start to kind of structure what that looks like, which means that you can like create videos of yourself explaining things. So if you are going to be kind of the customer relationship management person and you are managing that customer all the way through, that's great, because then they can see your face and you are aware and you know how to engage them and you know exactly how to talk about your product. This means you can start to kind of create a library of all the different things that people normally ask, and you can also utilize it as a way to kind of talk about new prices, talk about new features, pitch things to people, and get them in the habit of really using and seeing you more often. And our last, oh wow, I'm filling up over here. And our last, our last use case is just supplementing in-person meetings as well. So as the world starts to come back, and as people start to get used to real time, it's like supplementing the real time customer meetings. So there's a number of different ways that you can kind of start to dig into using video to supplement real time, and those things are listed here. But the two that I wanted to draw attention to is sending, if it's a video meeting, using Vidyard to send a piece of that meeting back to them. So you can actually upload, if you're recording on Zoom, or if you have Vidyard and you attach it to your Zoom integration, all of the videos automatically upload into Zoom. And what will happen is you can actually just send the videos directly out through Vidyard. So if you were like sharing something directly with people, or if you wanted to highlight something in a webinar, or if you were creating a lot of value for a customer, you can actually just share that back to them so they can actually see your presentation again or see the demo. So that's one of the ways to supplement kind of a real-time meeting. And the other one is, if you've met them in person, we have an app on your phone. So it's a great way to actually kind of like, as you're walking away from the meeting, record yourself being like, hey, we just left that meeting really lovely, it was great to see you, et cetera, and send it to them right away. So it allows you to kind of continue, again, going back to this idea that as a seller, we're getting less and less time in front of our customer. But what this allows you to do is extend the period of time you're with your customer and potentially get to the next layer inside that organization. Let's say you met with a sales manager and you're trying to get to a director. You're at a director, you're trying to get to a VP or the business owner. Vincent, yeah, please.
Oh, but an interesting thing, one of the features you have at Vidyard is to have a call to action, because most what you want people to do. So you have the video and you can have a banner and say, hey, you want let's discuss, or let's have a meeting to discuss that, and you can make a link and people will click on Calendly to set up a meeting with you. So it's in action, and that's what you want. You want people to take action.
Yeah, thank you again for bringing this up. You're really spot on with your your Vidyard features here. But yeah, I think one of the things from another feature perspective is you're able to do the exact same thing that YouTube does. So anytime that you're on YouTube and you're there and it's like, hey, do you want to watch this video or click this link up here? You're able to create moments in your video where you can call people and ask them to do something. And you can say, hey, right below, you're going to see a button to my calendar. If this is interesting to you, please click that button. Would love to sit down with you. And you're able to actually, as opposed to just like sending them the link or sending them something, you're able to actually ask them to do something, which becomes incredibly powerful because you're there doing it with them. And it allows you to leverage the engagement that you're seeing. By watching your video, they are already saying to you that they're engaged. If you can capture their attention during that video with the button, you can then create the action happening right away. They're more likely to have it. Videos that have a call to action inside of them perform significantly better at getting to close than ones without, because you're capturing their attention. You're able to drive that through. And I don't think I have it in this one, but the jumping. The last, so what I wanted to talk about is proposal stage, because this is the other incredibly powerful space that you should be using video in. And this is like, I say this so dramatically because we have a partner that we work with called Proposify. Over 100 million proposals go through their system every year. They have released a stat that has been true for the last 2 years in a row, which is proposals with video attached to them close at a 40% higher rate, period. So they don't know the quality of the video because Proposify just knows if you attach the video to the proposal or not. They don't know what's in the video. They don't know if the video is just a, hey, Vincent, please buy from me. And that's it. Like, they don't know anything. What they do know is if a video is attached to a proposal, the close rate is 40% higher. So
let me put my Santa hat for just a moment. It's going to be even more powerful if you've done your proposal and presentation live. So that's a good combination. You do your proposal live, and then you follow that with you send it with a video where you can just summarize the key points of your proposal and why you should take action.
I can't stress that enough. I agree 100% with Vincent here. It's yeah, Ariel.
Ariela.
Yeah, no, that surprises me because I recall we were also talking about how there's less and less live stuff going on. I personally have never had a client who wanted us to propose live, but maybe it's just the industry I'm in, which is a little different. It's consulting, so it's really service based. I don't know, but yeah, it's just a surprising the idea of proposing live to me.
By proposing live is you don't send a proposal by email and you wait for the answer. You ask for time, and we'll see that in a upcoming session of the
Okay. Not in person necessarily, just synchronous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in person, live. It could be remotely or in person, but you don't send and fire and forget.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I misunderstood. Never mind my comment. Sorry.
No,
we have about 15 minutes left. Why not take a couple of minutes to show practically how we can do that, James?
Sure, I'd love to. So, so to quickly, happy to. So we recommend, if you'd like to really kind of double down on video, if you haven't already because of Zoom, is to get equipment. But what I'm going to show is, hold on.
While you are switching your screens, I just thought that you're suggesting us to buy a ring light from Amazon, which is around $40, but I bought mine at $4 at the dollar store. So and it works perfectly. So just a heads up for everyone. You can find it one at the Dollar Tree.
I think that's a great call out. No, I don't know where those prices came from. This is not my deck, but I recommend people getting a ring light, or more. I think for me, I just go near a window, and I try and do if I'm going to be sending Vidyards, I try and send them in the morning so I can get the natural light on my face. Because even more so than a ring light, natural light is your best friend when it comes to doing video. So my recommendation is actually like taking your laptop if you're on a laptop and actually going near a window and doing them in the morning. So you can get the nice morning light, or in the afternoon, depending where you are. But that's kind of my recommendation. All right.
So just a question, do you recommend more using the laptop or an iPhone? Have you seen a difference in quality?
Yeah, so if you were using, so I'll be brutally honest, like if you're using Instagram, I would recommend using your phone. If you're using Vidyard, I would recommend using your laptop. Our tool first is our app works great, and our product teams are working on getting all the functionality that you get on your laptop onto the app. We're just a little bit behind. So if you start to get used to some of the functionality, or you want some of the like more advanced features, the laptop is the best way to go. And then our best performing videos are screen share. Now that doesn't mean that like you walking around, like people at conferences, like as I said, like recording yourself after a meeting, if you just met them in person, those still all work. We just know they're best performing ones, so like your face in the corner and the screen, which I'll show you right now.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's also an element of movement, right? If you can't stabilize your phone properly, you could get some shakiness that can be disorienting for people. This is just, I guess, a general video rule that, at least from my experience.
But you know what? Sometimes I'm using it. I send an email, a video. I was walking in the street and I sent a quick video walking, so it was very natural and like my first strike, and it worked. So it's
Okay, so everybody can see my email.
Yep.
Don't read too much. You're all under visual NDA, but it's fine. So I wanted to quickly show you Vidyard as a tool and just how easy it is. So first, at the end of this presentation, when you get the presentation, there'll be kind of a download link. But if Vidyard works the best as a Chrome extension. So if you know how to download a Chrome extension, or if you just Google Vidyard Chrome extension, the download link will be there. It attaches to your Chrome. This is the one that we recommend. If you're not a Chrome user, or if you're on a different browser, you can download our desktop app for Windows or for Mac. Also works the exact same way. You just open it up on your desktop. If you're trying to share on your desktop, so if you're sharing like not through your Chrome browser, so if you pulled up a PowerPoint, for instance, or something else, you're going to need to use the desktop app, because the Chrome extension only allows you to share what's inside Chrome. So when you click it, this happens. Your big face shows up. You can see my face. In this case, what I'll do is I'll actually just pop over to LinkedIn. We'll go to somebody. Who should we go? We'll go to Vincent. There he is.
Yeah.
So in this case, if I was going to prospect Vincent, or I wanted to send a video to him, I would click here. I can move my face where I want. You're going to want to center yourself, be right in the middle. And here, I'm in the airport, as you can see. So you're going to want to center yourself just like this. Put yourself here. I just need to move all of you just a sec. If you want to write video notes, you can put notes on the screen. Those will stay there. They will not be recorded. Those are for you only. And then what will happen is you've got the three options. You've got just screen, just camera, so this is just me, or screen and cam. We recommend screen and cam, and you'll see a button right by my face right here where you're able to kind of shrink the camera down. So, and where you shrink it down to, oh, this is interesting. Okay, hold on. Where you shrink it down to is where it's going to go back to after you press that button. So like if you wanted, so if I wanted this actually up here beside Vincent, I could do this. And so when I extend it, I'm in the middle. And then when I shrink it down, I'm back there. So that's how we're going to do this one. We're going to start recording. You're going to pick the Chrome tab that you want, in this case, Vincent. And then you're going to start the first 5 seconds. The first 5 seconds are the seconds that are going to turn into your GIF. After that, what's going to happen is I'm going to go over to Vincent and say, Vincent, it's very nice to meet you. I'm really excited to kind of work together. If I scroll down, oh, it looks like you're actually connected to Jay McBain. That's quite interesting. If I wanted to annotate that, there's a drawing tool. So I say, oh, look, Jay McBain and John Rosso. I'm friends with both of those people. Isn't that interesting? Maybe we should connect. Thank you so much, Vincent. You have a fantastic day. I'll see you later. I'm going to click stop. What will happen is immediately you're going to go to an edit screen, which is great because there's 2 things you need to do. First of all, as you're starting to create videos, you're going to need to put names on them. So in this case, this is a video for Vincent. And so that's going to happen. The reason you want to put that up there is when you send it to them, they're going to see that. So don't put like something internal. This is external for them to see. So just as aware, the name is also the name that they are going to see. And the second thing you are going to do is make sure that you put the animated thumbnail. It defaults to a custom thumbnail right here, which is this. But what you want it to default to is the animated GIF, which is there. And you're going to want to put some sort of motion on that, because what you want is when that GIF is in an email, you want them to be able to see. So great, I've made my video. If I've attached my email, I can actually send it right from Vidyard, but we're going to go over to Gmail and I'm going to send it from here. What's going to happen is I'm going to compose my email. Hold on, you're all in the middle of my screen. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to compose this to
Vincent.
Vincent made a video for you. Go to here, click the Vidyard button. So as you're there, the Vidyard button, because you've downloaded it to Chrome, will pop up. Goes here, look, there's my video for Vincent. I'm going to share it. If you want to share multiple videos, what will happen is, so if you had a welcome video and then a demo, you can actually share 2 videos. It'll actually just create a playlist. So they'll play right after each other and it automatically happens. So in this
Sorry,
case,
will we see the little Vidyard icon if we're on Outlook?
if you're on Outlook, no. What you need to do is you need to go to have you ever added an extra app to Outlook before?
No, but I could ask IT to do it.
Yeah, so up in the right, up on the top ribbon, there's one of the buttons will say like add an extension or add an app to Outlook, and we're in the shop. So you just add us in.
And the way I'm using in Outlook, I use the copy, link, and thumbnail in Vidyard, and I paste in my email, and it makes the same thing.
So what I'll do is I'll send this, and I'll show you quickly where it is in Outlook, okay? Because I can open up my my browser as well. So there you go. So I've made my video for Vincent. I'm going to click share. There it is. There's me waving. We recommend, so here's from a recommendation perspective, we recommend, and this is actually not a recommendation as much as it's a research-driven kind of number, that you put somewhere between 200 and 400 characters before your video. So a brief explanation of what the video is. So like 2 or 3 sentences, but specifically there's actually like a number of characters, which is just really interesting because like we did a very big research study with one of our big partners, and that's what they determined. So there it is. I'm going to send that to Vincent. Vincent, when you get that, if you don't mind watching it, and I'll show everybody kind of what a notification email looks like. But in the interim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Outlook, Office. Oh, is this not how I get to Outlook?
I just receive it. Okay.
Okay, Outlook. Oh, so I don't know if you see up here on here, but I got a Chrome notification that Vincent just watched my video. And then over here, where did it go? It should pop up. Okay, that's weird.
I stopped at 50% to show that I didn't watch the whole video.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll come up shortly. It's just gonna not auto sign me in. All right. Well, this is a hiccup. Let's see if it actually works. Vidyard.com. Nope, it's not going to let me get into Outlook. Anyway,
I can do on my side if you want.
Yeah, we can. All right, so why? Oh, it's interesting because I got that update, but I didn't. There you go. I think I turned on a tool where, anyway, so there you go. You got an email right away that Vincent watched it. You open up the email. He actually watched 64%. So what we can see here is that Vincent watched 64% of my video, which shows me if there's a threshold that's actually, if it's over 60%, that person's engaged is the number that we use. And a lot of other organizations use that. So if you see them watch 60% of the video, they got over the first like 50%, which means that they watched it, they understood it. There's a level of like interest there. If they watch like 50% or less, maybe if you sent out 20 videos, focus on the people that have watched more of them.
Interesting, the stats. When your video is less than 60 seconds, you have a improved ratio of people watching it.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. So especially when you're doing prospecting. Now, that doesn't hold true. Excuse me, sorry. That doesn't hold true for any of the other videos that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But prospecting specifically, less than 60 seconds. Everything else, like if after you do your synchronous video proposal and they had questions, answer the questions. If that takes 2 or 3 minutes, at that point, like it's better that you actually answer the questions. If it takes 5 minutes, go for it. If you're doing a demo and they asked you to get kind of specific and it's 10 minutes long, they asked you for it, or if you wanted to share, feel free, especially once you've already built up that trust. We have 4 minutes actually, it just ticked over, left. Would love to take any questions if there's anything kind of last minute, anything that people would like to know about video or anything.
A quick thing, the way I use a lot Vidyard is directly from LinkedIn. I send video messages from the LinkedIn messaging system because you have the little icon, and that way I record my video directly from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn to LinkedIn.
Yep. So yeah, I think we spoke about that at the beginning. So as soon as you get that, the extension, the Chrome extension, it'll appear in your LinkedIn as well. So along the bottom where you can add GIFs and things like that, the video button will also be there. The same library that pops up that I showed you when you're inside Chrome will also pop up. Yes, please go ahead.
Vincent, it's Rija. What's your openness rate on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. It really depends on if I'm sending videos to people I know, or simple connections that people accepted my relationship, but were not really engaged. So when it's people who accepted my invitation, I would say I have a 1 out of 4 success ratio. When it's people I know, it's 3 out of 4, 75% of engagement, much higher when people I know.
So do I understand that you do both, meaning that you are using Vidyard to connect with people that you are not connected with the first degree of connection?
No, you cannot do that. I'm using Vidyard after once people have accepted my request for, because you cannot send an invitation to your second level. But first you engage with the good techniques. Hey, Rija, I've noticed that you engage in this the industry. Oh, I've read one of your article. Why not connect on LinkedIn? That's the first step. You want people connected to you, and then you can start your cadence of once you accepted, Rija, thanks for accepting my invitation. Why not? I'm glad that you accepted it. I would like to take perhaps 20 minutes to discuss with you how you envision the business development, or so. Then you can engage them.
Understood. Thank you.
Or sometimes I have a recorded video, 2 minutes, and that I'm reusing and say, hey, Rija, I propose you to spend 2 minutes to look at what I'm doing and how I'm helping business leaders to increase their sales. It's a 2 minutes video. Here's the link.
Understood. Thanks, Vincent.
Gabriel?
I'm using Chrome, but the thing is on Chrome, it's my personal address. So if I create a video from Chrome, from LinkedIn, I guess they're going to receive it from my personal address. It's not going to be my professional address that's going to be connected in the video, right?
The personal address would where you'd get the notification, but they're not going to see your email.
Okay.
So it's like if it would just be the profile that you've created. If you want to create another Vidyard profile, like using your business account, you can do that and then attach it to your Chrome. So it probably just auto signed you in through Google, but you can sign up using any yeah, and we would recommend signing up using your business account.
Thank you.
So last thing, for those of you who haven't used video before, as I mentioned at the very beginning, this is this is a revolution, or like it's a shift in the way that we are communicating. The way that we are going to communicate on a business level is changing. Asynchronous video is going to be is the future, and what we're seeing is actually, especially with our organizations that are the present actually are distributed, as you're looking to go across time zones, as you're looking to go across and like become more global, or like people are starting to hire people from all over the world. Asynchronous video is going to become more and more useful. It's going to become more and more used, and it's going to be another tool in your toolbox. The sooner that you get on board with it and understand and get comfortable when, how to send it, the sooner it's going to become way more intuitive to be, oh, I could send a video now, and less of like, oh, I need to send a video. It's more so like it'll become an intuitive part of your toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
As the same way that the telephone is, and email, post, or like mail, and all of those kind of things still have a lot of value. This is just another thing that you need to kind of wrap your head around. Well, I would recommend using it as much as possible at the beginning, so you can get that comfortability and you can start to see where you are actually at your best when you're sending a video. Maybe it is a follow-up after email, that's when you're at your best. Maybe it is prospecting, that's when you're at your best. But find a place that you're able to kind of really find value for video. Different than a lot of other pieces of software, the Vidyard and all asynchronous video providers, the value is in using the product. The value isn't in having it in the background. So it's not like other pieces of software, like your accounting system that sits there and you kind of do things and then it creates a lot of value. This piece of software is right here. You have to kind of engage with it. And for it to create value for you, you need to be using it.
Thank you very much, James. So call to action, don't wait, don't look for perfection. And we, James and I, are expecting to receive your first video in the next, let's say, five business days.
Yes, absolutely.
We can count on you. Thank you very much, James, for this great presentation. It has been recorded, so I'm going to send you the link, and you do not hesitate to diffuse and share with people. We're going to send you the referral link to connect to Vidyard and to make your first videos. Bye-bye.
Thank you.